Hey guys, welcome to my channel and today I'm recording Cambridge O Level 5070 Paper 1. This is Major 2021 paper and this is the variant 2. You have 1 hour to solve this paper. In 1 hour you need to solve it and it has 40 multiple choice questions which you need to go through and solve all of them. So I've already solved its part 1, 2 and 3 where I have uploaded 30 MCQs already. Now this is the last part in which I'm going to 30 onwards, that is 31 to 40 MCQ. So if you want to refer, you have any problem in my previous questions, so make sure in these previous questions that are before 30, so then make sure you check them out in my link below in the description. I have put the whole playlist over there. So without any further ado, let's get started. MCQ number 31. 3 correct statements about aluminium are listed. Aluminium is the most common metal in Earth's crust. It is costly to extract aluminium from its ore. Bauxite. The world's supply of bauxite is limited. Which statements explain why aluminium should be recycled? Here we're talking about 3 correct statements. All these statements are correct, but what actually makes us gives us a message, conveys a message that we should recycle aluminium. So it's basically, if we see it, first statement, it says that aluminium is most common metal in Earth's crust, so why would we recycle? So statement 1 is not highlighting the importance of recycling. If we look at statement number 2, it is costly to extract aluminium from its ore, bauxite, yes. To save money, we must recycle it. And then we see the world's supply of bauxite is limited, so of course it's going to be 31, that is B, because 2 and 3 tells you that highlights the importance of recycling aluminium. Moving on to MCQ number 32. Attaching pieces of magnesium to underground iron pipes can protect the iron from corrosion. Which reaction protects the iron from corrosion? So these are a few reactions given to us over here, which are mainly about, it's mainly about the corrosion, and it comes from the chapter of electrochemistry. And if we see over here, we will see that magnesium should be reduced over here. It should be oxidized over here. Sorry. So if we look over here at the equation, so it should not. We do not need can protect iron from corrosion. So it should be number 10, because it's not going to be Fe2 plus 2E. It's not going to be this one. It's neither going to be this. Not going to be this, because if we look into the reaction of corrosion, so we'll easily identify that magnesium will form Mg2 plus 2E minus. Alright. Moving on to MCQ number 33. Iron is extracted from its ore hematite in a blast furnace. This statement about this extraction process is correct. If we look over here, air is blown into blast furnace to react with carbon. Yes, this is correct. Okay, this is definitely correct. But if we look at the other one, at the bottom of blast furnace, a layer of molten iron floats on the top of the layer of molten slag. No, not really. Limestone is decomposed in the blast furnace to produce carbon monoxide. No. Silicon dioxide and impurity in the ore is a basic oxide. So basically, we have already got its answer, that is A for sure. For this you need to go through the entire process of extraction of iron, in which you will be able to understand what processes take place, and then you can easily solve this MCQ. Moving on to MCQ number 34. The statement about the preparation and properties of aluminium is correct. Aluminium is obtained by heating aluminium oxide with carbon. So if we look over here, so aluminium is not obtained by heating aluminium oxide with carbon. Aluminium is produced at the anode by electrolysis of aluminium oxide dissolved in molten cryolite. Well, again, no, this is not the right answer. Aluminium is unreactive as it forms an oxide coating. Yes, this is correct, because when it forms oxide coating on it, because pure aluminium, it reacts with air, forming an oxide coating on it. Hence, it gets unreactive. So, aluminium is used to overhead electricity cables as a good conductor of electricity. No, it is not correct. Aluminium does not have a high density. Okay, so this is not correct. Okay. Moving on to MCQ number 35. How many moles of hydrogen fluoride are formed when 1 mole of methane reacts with a large excess of chlorine in sunlight? Okay, so for this you need to see the reaction in which we are talking about with UV light, the reaction that takes place. And if we see the equation, so over here we'll have 4 moles of hydrogen chloride formed. So this is as a fact, and you can also make the equation and you will get to know about it. MCQ number 36, vegetable oils can be made into margarine. Which law describes the changes which take place when vegetable oil is turned into margarine? That means in this case, we are adding hydrogen, alright, since it's getting more stiffer, it's going into more solid side. And the viscosity increases, of course. Viscosity will increase because you're going from oil to margarine. So definitely this cannot be either one of them. Moving on to MCQ number 37, which statements about alcohols are correct? All alcohols contain hydroxide ion OH minus. Ethanol can be formed from ethane using reaction catalyzed by yeast. Okay, let's look into. Okay, we also have structures with us. So if we look, this is X and this is Y. All alcohols contain the hydroxide ion. If we look into this, the statement about alcohols are correct, we need to go through all these statements and then we will figure out which one is correct. Ethanol can be formed from ethene using a reaction catalyzed by yeast. Methanol can be oxidized to form methanoic acid, and the alcohols X and Y shown are isomers. Let's start from number 4. If we see 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. These both have 4 carbons and they're both alcohols, so yes, these are isomers. So number 4 is correct. Methanol can be oxidized to form methanoic acid. Yes, when alcohol react with oxygen, so they always form a carboxylic acid, correct? Moving on to ethanol can be formed from ethene using a reaction catalyzed by yeast. Ethanol can be formed from ethene using a reaction catalyzed by yeast. Well, not really. And okay, so for this we have already got the answer, that is 3 and 4 are correct. Since we only have 2 options over here, that shows us it is correct. So for this the answer is going to be D, 3 and 4. Moving on to MCQ number 38, which circle structure shows only the functional group of a carboxylic acid? The circle structure shows only the functional group of carboxylic acid. The functional group of carboxylic acid, if you look over here, this is not the entire functional group. I don't know what's wrong with it, I say. Okay, so it's definitely not A. Then if we look over here, this is basically the functional group of carboxylic acid, C double bond OH, and this OH is not the functional group. C double O is not complete functional group. This is for OH is for alcohols basically. So for this the answer is going to be B, 39 MCQ, which says which statement about polymers is correct? Nylon and terylene are both polyesters. No, they're not polyesters. Moving on to part B. Proteins in nylon have the same monomer units. If we look into this, no, it's not correct. Moving on to C, proteins have the same amide linkages as nylon. Yes, the linkage is same, but they do not have the same monomer unit. And terylene and fats are esters, but with different linkages. No. So for it, the answer is C for sure. This question I think has been repeated in previous years too. I cannot recall the exact year, but it has been repeated. Moving on to MCQ number 40, some information about compound X is shown. X contains the elements carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only. The product of hydrolysis of X is the simple sugar glucose. What is X? So for this, X is definitely starch. Since it has carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, it's not going to be nylon. For nylon, it should have, for protein and nylon, it should have nitrogen as well, and it's not having nitrogen. And not a polyester, of course, because it has oxygen too, so it's going to be starch. If you talk about polyesters, it's only carbon and hydrogen. So that is it for this paper, I believe. Yes, this is it for the entire paper. This is my complete May-June 2021 MCQ paper. Make sure you check out all the 4 parts. 4 parts are uploaded. In case you have any other difficulty, make sure to drop it down in the comment section down below. And thank you so much for watching, and best of luck for your exams.